We are going to record this and share it. I'm going to kick it off like this. Well, hello, everybody. Liz here with Club Ichi, and I am so excited to be running our 7-minute demos. This is the first time that we've offered this, and this has come out of me just wanting to do demos of all of the tools and platforms that exist out there. I was like, you know what? Why don't we do the super high level, really fun? Let's just find out what these tools are for, what they can do, and then ask a little Q&A, and then be like a sampler pack for the folks that want to join. So those of you who are live with us, insiders are here on here. I am going to open up my chat. So if you want to ask questions while the demo is going on, feel free to flood the chat with them. We're going to have 7 minutes for me to see the technology and 3 minutes for me to get as many of your questions answered as I can, or I'm just going to ask my questions. We're going to keep it tight, and this is going to be amazing. And Seth, are you ready to go first?
I am ready.
Amazing. All right, everybody. This is Seth with their app. And Seth, tell me what your app is.
Yeah. So I have experience personally in managing on-site activities. I've been a corporate marketer, so I've kind of run trade show presences and organizing advisory board meetings and other activities like that, and felt like the way our teams are coordinated gets spread across too many environments, or we have people who join us on the road that we're not used to working with yet, and it takes too long to onboard them. So we're an environment for all the teamwork that happens around location-based projects, accessing calendar, sharing files, communicating with teammates, and location-specific features, including abilities to see where each other is live for when that's important.
Amazing. Well, let's see this thing.
All right, cool. I am making that switch, which I trust happened.
Yep, it happened.
Okay, great. So I'm logged in here as a demo account that we set up, and these are a bunch of sort of sample projects. In fact, this one down on the bottom was me and some college friends getting together in Texas a couple weeks ago. I'm going to jump into this one, which is an example of a company exhibiting at a trade show. It's actually data based on a presence in Barcelona at Mobile World Congress that I managed. And these are our modules you see on our dropdown. Some of them basically speak for themselves. Like I said, file sharing, task assignment. Right now we're in the events one, which is actually the calendar. So here's all of our appointments, and it's pretty familiar and straightforward organization of the data as relates to a particular appointment. Because we're for on-location project, we try to highlight the value in that regard. So I see all my appointments on the map as well. If I tap on one, I see those same data. I can click for navigation. I can actually navigate from one place in my project to another. If I were to click there, it would hand it off to Google Maps, but in the interest of 7 minutes, I'll keep moving. Here's the files module. You can put in URLs for cloud documents. You can upload files directly, and they're visible and accessible within the environment. Task assignment, again, very straightforward. Like in events, if there's location data related to a task, that's going to be accessible either from the map or obviously from the list, or I can click through to see more information about a particular task. And you may notice as I click around that the way these things are organized and presented is pretty consistent, and that lets us be pretty fluid with how they're used. So if I go into chats, for example, and I look at this chat, I think. Yeah, so here people are chatting with text, but also like embedding items from the different modules. So here's a couple of files from the file module. Here's a task from the task module. So while I'm writing my chat, if I want to incorporate something from one of the other modules, I click plus and I'll pick a place, and it's not really a restaurant. I'll pick this hotel, and now submitted in the chat thread. And that same sort of kind of fluidity across our modules is in another module we built recently called boards. So this is like a bulletin board, like a project front page, and it lets you put in formatted text and banner images, but also again integrate items from our different modules. So if we need a front page, instead of people hunting around the whole project, they're like, okay, here's Katie from the team module. She's the point of contact. Here's the venue from the places module. That's where we need to get to. So you have like a front page that brings together all these elements with ability for layout, because we're for produced project involvement. We try to give you some design capacity. You can upload a logo, pick a theme color, and I'll just close with the location sharing feature. So again, I'm logged in as demo. And actually, I was doing this like while Liz was setting me up. So Seth, I'm logged in as Seth on my phone, and Seth is sharing his location with demo right now. So that's me where I'm doing this webinar from. If demo needs to access Seth, again, he can click him on the map. He can chat with him within the environment or phone him or email him as he wishes. If Seth decides that he needs some privacy, he can pause his location sharing and disappear from the map. So again, like it's a single resource for all the ways teams have to access project information, be in touch live with each other, and track their execution while working on projects in the field, specifically really focused on meetings, conferences, events, and offsites.
Wow. Okay. You did that in 5 minutes, not 7. That's amazing. So I have time for questions. So question number 1, can you send push messages to all of your team through this app?
I am going to confirm that live. Well, you can. Oh, no, you can. Yeah. So I can click add entire team. And now I started to chat with all my team members. If I realize, I want them all except for John, I can unclick them there and then start it. So, yes.
And so how does that notification? Is it like the little red one type of thing that they see?
So we do a push notification. If you're looking at the app, you'll get a blue banner on the bottom of the screen. If you're not looking at the app, you'll get a notification within, your phone. It is an iOS and Android app, but it's also a web app. You're actually looking at it like the way it looks as a mobile app, but in my web browser. So if you're using it just web without installing, then we'll push a notification to you by email. And yeah, like when you come into the app, you'll see, which module has a pending item for your attention, whether it's a task or a chat and so forth.
This is amazing. Okay, so when you first started building this, was the idea that you're on site at a trade show and you're getting your entire team, or you're running a conference and it's for all of your staff? Or what was the initial reason?
I mean, it's for the team that has to collaborate. I guess like relating it to my personal experiences, again, like especially in a lot of the marketing communications roles I've held, it's often a hybrid of colleagues and, contractors or other, sort of on the fly help. And I mean, if it's just colleagues, we may all be in our enterprise chat environment. It's not quite as on rails and project oriented as what you're looking at, but, it's at least where we know to get in touch with each other. But yeah, like definitely like fast onboarding and incorporation of customers, partners, vendors, and other people collaborating with the team for the scope of that project's always been important. Like, what's the team that has to be coordinated while on site?
Question, are there integrations and APIs with other apps? Like if the marketing ops teams uses Jira or Confluence, can you link certain tasks and deadlines?
Well, you absolutely can we have a web module, which I didn't really dwell on, but you can put in a URL that can be the front door to whatever your collaborative environment is. So basically that can be, accessed through us. Degrees of integration are kind of on the rise, basically. Like we have it really great in our files module. If you have files in Dropbox or SharePoint or Google Drive or anywhere else, those URLs go right into our files module. It will extend to things, like Asana and Jira type apps as well. But yeah, at the moment, you can at least put in the link for the group to access it, from the same resource.
Awesome. And then tell me about the location thing. So if I'm at Mobile World Congress and I sent Sandy out to get bagels for everyone, but I don't know where Sandy is, but she's turned it on, I can just see that here.
Yeah, essentially the scenario is, I mean, location shares are, again, like with consideration for the fact that this is for professional projects and people want to value their privacy, you can only open a location share for a time window, and that time window is 7 days max. And while it's up, you can, pause it in real time as well. The fidelity is basically the same as Google Maps. So depending on the venue and such, but like it's generally like pretty accurate to like a 5 or 10 foot radius.
That's amazing. And then can you do automated things with Zap? Can you create a Zap if you wanted to go create tasks in other things?
Did you just say something about Zaps?
Yeah, Zapier.
Like Zapier? Honestly, I haven't really put my toe in that water yet.
No worries, that's cool. And then another question, clients are using Slack at events more and more. What sets this apart?
So yeah, a few things. One is the fact that again, like it's got the context of a project, right? So Slack's motif is obviously a chat thread, and while it has some incorporation of links and files and other things, they're not organized in such a way. And we're really, because we're for location-based projects, we put a big emphasis on quick, clear navigation and access to just the info you need, not putting too much on screen, and supporting the on-location work circumstance. Like one liability of Slack is you go in there to look up something related to your project, and you see somebody's baby pictures, or some other project that's not the one you're on site for. So with us, you're always within the particular project. Your focus is on that. And again, like we have lightweight ways to get you what you need. It's got this balance across emphasis on files or on tasks or on calendar alongside chat without being like principally a chat motif. It's a little bit more production oriented, like with some of like the design polish we put into it to be consistent with high quality event production. And it's generally, kind of a quicker, more accessible environment for those outside parties who want involved, as opposed to your colleagues, who are together in Slack all the time.
I love it. Okay, and so final, are you, is this ready to be downloaded? Is it purchasable? What is the current status of this?
It is entirely accessible. So you can find it in the Android Play Store and in the App Store, or go to beta.there.app from a browser. It is a pre-commercial product, and we're running a launch partner program. So you can see that on our website. If you go to there.app, you'll see on top, you can click the link to see what our launch partner program is. But basically, we'd like to work with you on a project. We'll do several dozen of these, like to close out this year and into the first parts of next year. And if we work with you on a live on location project, meaning we just, kind of help employ best practices and get some perspective on your use so we can best advance the product going forward, and then consult with you a little bit afterwards. There's some upside for you, including some extended period of free use when the product does go commercial during 2025.
Amazing.
So
Seth,
reach
you
out
were
to us
the first
directly to talk
ever
about
7-minute demo. This was incredible. You killed it. Thank you for playing our game.
All right. Thank you. Very flattering.
Amazing. Oh, thank you, Elle. Okay, remove your spotlight, put mine back up, and you can stop your screen share.
Right.
Mark Granovsky, are you ready to be my next victim?
Hey, good morning. Yes, thanks for having
Come
me,
on
Liz.
down.
All right, so Mark, I have asked you here today from G2 Planet to show us a little bit about the event portfolio management portion, because I know that your tool does a whole lot more than that, but that's what we're zoning in on today.
Yep,
Bring it.
that sounds good. Yeah, so as you mentioned, you're seeing my screen, okay? Event
Yes.
portfolio management in our world is done within an application called Event Central. We're looking at the landing page of Event Central just to provide a little high-level context. Event Central is an event marketing operations management system. So it's a platform that large corporations or small, anywhere from 3 people to 50, 100 people team members will get inside and run their business of event marketing. We had a client say it. So one of the important functions inside these kinds of organizations is portfolio planning. And that's one of the workflows that the tool helps with. So what you're seeing here in the application is just like I say, the landing page. The navigation is broken out across the side horizontally from a company structure to the events database and a variety of information about it. This is where portfolios are placed, right? It's got planning capabilities for target markets, job categories, where you're bringing your activations, event goals, some measurement and metrics capabilities, a supplier database, a venue database, lots of reporting, document library, et cetera, et cetera. But to crawl inside of the portfolio planning process, what our clients have done is typically focus first on sourcing events, getting events into the system that they can take a look at and analyze and look at the fit. So there's a variety of ways of getting events into the system. There's an event request process where events can be submitted both internally through colleagues on an intranet site, as well as out on the public if you're being called on by sales reps from, say, events that want you to come as an exhibitor or sponsor. You can have these people go to these forums, fill things out. They come into the organization. People get notified. They look at the event. There's scorecards that are part of this, event opportunity scorecards. So an event will be scored based upon its business fit. A scorecard is built based upon parameters, business fit, past historical performance, resource availability, whatever a client wants to create as their scorecard and score an event. An event will be evaluated, then it will be assigned to a business unit, and those business units will look at those events that are available. They'll put them into tier one or, other kinds of portfolios that they might have, deciding upon them, and then ultimately making a choice that they are going to go to some events versus not others. And then ultimately then they look to share that information back then with the organization through these portals, an intranet portal, again, in a public portal, to be able to say, this is the single source of truth, what we're doing, organization, so that you can go ahead. And we had a client once call this a drive-by calendar. So I can see the calendar view, a list view, where I can look at roadmaps that I might be sharing, with the organization based on things that I'm doing from events in a portfolio perspective. So here's an example of an event. This is just a mock database company called SmartGo. This is the alignment area. These are the business units that are looking at this event itself. You can see the scorecards here. We've got 2 business units that have actually scored this event, so we can rank it and see how it fits in alignment to the business units. And even when you're looking at the business unit to go inside of the portfolio that is being considered, this is the roadmap view. Here's the event list view. So we can take a look at all the events in the portfolio and compare and contrast them against each other, rank them, and figure out which events we want to go to for the betterment of the business. And a lot of times in these enterprises, an event will service multiple business units. So an event can fit within different places in the organization, and different budgets can come in and whatnot. To be able to activate it. So at the end of the day, there's a lot of reporting that comes out the back end, in terms of looking at opportunities or looking at the performance of events. But the overall goal is to try to help a corporation improve their investments in events and find those events that are better aligned to what their business unit needs are, or their corporate marketing priorities, campaigns and themes. So high level overview, probably in about 5 minutes, hopefully, in terms of portfolio planning inside of the Event Central tool.
There is a question for you. Does this program mostly support existing corporations that have an event program and not a third-party planner? Rebecca, can you give me a little bit more context on that?
Sure. So what I'm seeing here is, business units, a variety of different types of events for a specific corporation. But myself as a third-party planner, I am planning events for a variety of clients. So managing my programs within a single source would be fantastic as a third-party
could this
planner.
be used for you to organize your client program so you have your own database of info?
Yep.
Yeah. So the short answer to that is yes. While the application has been built for large corporations, we recognize the applicability that it has to agency partners and their ability to keep track of information as well and manage. So I've got a couple of gears up here. This is a G2 Planet administration. Client admin is accessed here, but G2 Planet administration is accessed here. If I come back here on the licensing level and the modes and modules, there's a series of modules in addition to the strategy and planning we were just looking at. But you can see we've got an agency version here that I can trigger and configure it to be able to start to begin the process of configuring the tool for agency use.
And then from a pricing structure, Mark, I know that you've got the enterprise-wide one for the large enterprises. Are you doing a more accessible one for the smaller ones?
Yeah, we are. We're rolling out a version of this. It's a product-led growth kind of an approach from a strategy perspective, where think of it as kind of an Event Central light, if you will. Our modules are listed here. Strategy and planning is really where portfolio planning comes in. There's a series of other modules from budgeting to project management, staff scheduling. Our Event Max activations are here. What we're doing is we're scaling back strategy and planning into a light kind of capacity and releasing it with a freemium version at a very low level for a certain number of events per year, just to let people get in and experience it and see if it's a good fit for them. And then as they decide it is and they want to grow into the platform more wholly, there's different levels of growth within that Event Central Lite, or stepping into strategy and planning and then turning on some of the other modules as we go.
Amazing. All right, 3 quick questions in our last 3 minutes here. First, if I am with a company and I have a big spreadsheet of all my current events, you have an event request tool. Could I upload those to get started
Oh,
before
absolutely.
I start the request process?
All kinds of importing. If I look at my event list here in the database and the kind of information that we'll keep, there's an import process, and that import process actually can be configured. So it's not a rigid import tool. It's got flexibility. There's a default structure to it, but then you can go ahead and manage the kind of information that you want to bring in from your CSV file. Typically, that's done sort of at an initial basis when we're onboarding new things. But once people are into the tool, they're really realizing, just living in the tool is a whole lot more productive than, living amongst disparate spreadsheets.
Yep. My second one, which is similar to what Rebecca's asking here. So I love your roadmap view, and can I export that to PowerPoint so that I don't have to recreate it on slides for my executives?
Absolutely. We built an export mechanism of not only the roadmap view, but the event record itself that we were just looking at there for Silicon Vold as an example event. I think we've got like 380 attributes in the database on the event record. So clients can, again, through the configuration, we'll handhold them from a services perspective, but we can build various PowerPoint slides, because in that event record, there's just a lot of information. So in addition to that PowerPoint roadmap view, you can pull information like on the audience and the attendees and other kinds of things, and then your results. So you can pick and choose attribution from within the record, export it to PowerPoint here too, in addition to downloading it to CSV, of course. But it's both the roadmap view as well as information on a particular event you can get out to PowerPoint.
Amazing. And my last question of the rankings, who has the ability to go in and rank the events?
It's based on permissions. So there's an extensive use of, this piece of enterprise software. So lots of permissions. We'll permission, users based upon what modules, and then, different capabilities and roles within modules. So, there's planners, there's managers, there's viewers, there's a variety of these different roles. We kind of think about permissions as like keys on a keychain for that high school janitor that used to walk around with all those keys. We just issue keys to the keychain, let people open doors that need to, based upon their performance on the team.
Amazing. Okay, if anyone wants information, go to g2planet.com or reach out to Mark on LinkedIn. Any other way they should find you?
No, those are 2 great ways. And again, thanks for having me, Liz and Nicole.
Look at us. All right. Just in time. That was fun. All right. You're our second victim. You did an amazing job. Congratulations. Okie dokie. So now back to my spotlight, and we are on to victim number 3. Shayne Smith, are you ready to tell us about Kampfire?
Sure. Here we go. Let me share my screen. Hopefully it doesn't freeze with all the tabs that I have open.
Oh, I feel you. Mine's been doing that today too. All right,
Okay,
Shayne,
great.
AI-driven photo sharing tool. Tell us all about it.
All right, so basically what you're looking at right now is I got permission from one of our clients to actually demo what they did and show you a bit into the event experimental marketing summit. But before that, just what is Kampfire? Kampfire is designed to take your events beyond the day itself. With our personalized photo sharing platform, we not only make your events more memorable, but also provide powerful tools to keep your attendees engaged long after they leave. Whether you're looking to boost your brand visibility or enhance your attendee experience or drive measurable ROI, Kampfire offers a streamlined solution that integrates seamlessly into any event strategy. All right, so that being said, what you're looking at right now is actually the end product of what we do at Kampfire. This is what the attendees would actually receive. So everything you see here is completely customizable. This is a specific type of template that has many photos, but obviously the most important thing that we have here is the upload your selfie. So I'm going to do one with you just to show you how it actually looks for, let's see. All right, so this is somebody that attended the event. I took their photo and I uploaded it. So basically what it's going to do now is look for all the photos they appear in. There's probably about 1,000 or 2,000 photos to go through and return back all the photos that they appear in. So you can see here, every photo that he's appeared in, he can opt out or he can download the photo simply. He can also go into each photo individually and download or opt out or share it. A little new feature that we've added since we've had the feedback from Liz actually was the show all your photos button, which now appears at the bottom here.
Yay!
So now you can see all the photos taken and not just the personalized album. That's just one of the features that we introduced based off feedback coming from Club Ichi. Second one, which I won't have time to discuss today, is we've now introduced an API. So we can start working with event tech platforms to actually introduce Kampfire into their system. And this was someone reaching out from Club Ichi to request that. With that all being said, so this is how it looks. I mean, it's quite easy to use. And as you can see, we have a few things like CTA buttons, which everything you see here during this heightened state of engagement actually really works. I mean, if you click for register for next year's event or download event report, whatever it may be, the CTAs are completely customizable. But let me show you exactly how we got to the screen and what it looks like. So upon logging into our system, it's quite quick. If I had actually a few more minutes, I'd probably be able to do a full demo on how to actually use everything. So I'll speed it up a little bit. So all I've done is I've created an event, start a new workspace, and this was EMS's event. So we'll go into it. Basically, upon logging in, you're going to be presented with the ability to upload all your photos, as simple as it sounds. Drag and drop, or you can do it from Dropbox, Google Drive, and the photos will just appear below. And this is basically what's considered your event gallery. Nice and easy, depending on your upload speed. Well, great. Now you got the photos in. Time to remove the photos you don't want. So we've added a couple filters to our system. We are continuously adding more, mainly based on any feedback we receive. The next one coming, for example, be to remove redundancies or duplicate photos. But you can see some of them are on here. You can turn any of these on. It will go through your album, and depending on what you've selected, we'll remove those photos. And as easy as you can return them back by the click of a button.
Whoa. I'm going to interrupt with one question. You can remove unhappy faces?
Yes, you can.
What?
Yes. So if you turn that on, it goes through the whole album and it will show you the photos with people that are not smiling. We did that just for fun. And that's why we're taking a lot of feedback based on these filters to really make them useful for people. But let's say we've turned them on, the photos would appear here and you can return it back to the album. You would also be able to see who's opted out of photos and should they made a mistake or something, return it back. All right, so we've uploaded photos, we've filtered out the photos. Now we got to select favorites. We asked you to select favorites in our system just because of two reasons. One, photographers can't capture everyone at an event. So it would be quite disappointing to arrive on the page, upload your selfie and get nothing back. So that's the first idea, is to get a whole bunch of favorites. We did add the all photos button, which is the toggle that you need to turn on. But let's say it's not on and we're only working on personalized photo albums. So you would receive back, let's say I uploaded my selfie, as you saw in the screen before, I would get not only my own photos, but the photos that I've selected as event admin that I want everybody to see. Wonderful. So now we've got our photos, we've got our favorites, removed everything. We're ready to actually start our first campaign. And the campaign is basically that landing page when I started that I showed you. So it's as simple as just to show you the different templates that we offer. So we have a bunch of templates that make it quite easy for you to use. In this case, I'm going to show you which EMS used was a newsletter, and I'll explain why when I get to the actual page. But we have multiple different templates. One of the best that I love the most is the survey, because it allows you to ask questions while somebody's receiving their photos, and that will definitely boost your survey response rates. So we go back. Here's one that this is the newsletter template. And when you log in, so now the fun really starts. And as we started, I showed you this screen over here. So the ability to be able to change anything you see here, and more coming soon, even to the backgrounds and the positioning, But right now you can change the colors of everything and just by the click of a button. So I can click here, change colors. Wonderful. We offer a multiple languages that you can select depending on your guest's choice. I mean, all it does is it changes the instructions on how to get your photos back. Just in this case, we'll keep it as English. And the rest is just text elements everywhere that you see. So you can change, this is a newsletter. And the reason we have it as a newsletter is you're allowed to choose 5 photos to appear on the landing page, as opposed to other templates that only allow 1. All the text is completely customizable. These are our best practices. And as you can see here, it's really up to you. It's whatever you really want to put in here. The choice is yours. The logo, as simple as uploading a logo, and it appears in the top left. One of my favorite is the CTAs. I just added these for this event. They actually were not part of the original campaign, just to show you the ability of the tech itself. So let's say you have an event that happens every year. So you have that event, people come to it in 2024, but you're also already starting to plan for next year's event. You're able to add a button saying register for next year's event and link it to wherever you like. Everything that you see that has a link or is clickable is tracked at the end in our stats, which I'll show you. So great, I've added 2 buttons and it's really up to you here. We've had people that add become a member or download an event report or register for next year's event. Really up to your creativity. Now, when I said we selected favorite photos, the reason being was, 1, so people actually don't get nothing when they uploaded their selfie if they didn't have their photos taken. And the second is so you can add them onto this landing page. You're only able to add.
That's the official end of the demo time. So now I get to pepper you with questions.
Yes.
This was amazing. This was a really great overview. So you're in, the intent of this is you're at a conference or a trade show, whatever, and you've got some professional photographers. They're going to load in all the pictures. You are then going to choose the favorites that everyone sees, but anyone else who goes into the app can then take a selfie, and it will, using AI facial recognition, pull up all the pictures they find themselves in. Is that right?
That's correct. Couldn't have said it better myself.
Okay, so now that you're going to show the dashboard, what's the purpose of the dashboard? What do I get out of the metrics?
So the whole idea is once everything's sent out there, you have a high level and a low level overview. Everything here is pretty self-explanatory except one, which is the idea to create brand ambassadors, digital engagement score. That's something we give you when you land on our landing page, depending on what you did. Did you download the photos? Did you click the sponsor links? Because we do have sponsors and things like that. Whatever you did on that page, the more you did, the more engaged you are, and we'll give you a high engagement score. That allows you to see who your brand ambassadors are of that event. And you can drill it down to an individual level, as you can see here. All the guests that uploaded their selfies, you'll see the selfie they uploaded and anything they clicked or did at this event. So this person didn't have any photos.
It's almost influencer management. So you can see that they've shared it. You can see, I see.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so,
okay. And then so how do people get on it? Is it an app that they download, or is it a web tool?
So there's no app at all. Basically, everything's a link. You would just, at the end of the day, once you've created your campaign, this link gets emailed out to everybody. And when you click it, you're able to get to this page that I started with, or scan the QR code, which you can actually have at your event printed out.
Amazing. And just so everyone knows, we did use this on our Barefoot Business Retreat in Croatia. So we had 18 people on each sale, all uploading all of their pictures. And originally you had to click the pictures you wanted people to see. And there were literally thousands, and we just didn't have time to click them. So that's why they've added the show all pictures option, which is super awesome. Thank you.
And more coming soon.
So great. Okay. Any other questions? We've got 7 seconds left. All right, Shayne, how do we get in touch with you?
LinkedIn, or I guess I can share my email, or the Slack Club Ichi channel works well, whichever way.
Amazing. All right. Well, I've got, it's campfire.online. I dropped that in there, and find Shayne on LinkedIn or in Slack. Thank you. That was amazing. Yay. Okay. Our final demo, Francois, come on in. Okay. So this one's going to be really fun because I, full disclosure, have seen the last 3 before and have even used the last 3 before. I have never seen Amego or used Amego. So this is a real live actual Liz sees it for the first time demo. So Francois, what is Amego? You are an event app, but tell me more.
Absolutely. And let me share my screen here and we can go from there. You all can see that, right?
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. So Amego is the experiential event app, so the premium event app. So when we think about the event app that scales to your event portfolio, I love what Mark was saying there. about from Event Central and your event portfolio. We know we usually work with companies that run a very wide range of on-site events, and they can go from SCOs to Center of Excellence, but right up to their summits, but then to their marquee events, right? The citywide events, the really big events. So Amego is that event app that kind of scales to your branding requirements, but also scales to the feature requirements that you need for these different sets, and as well your security requirements, right? So I'll go down a little bit here. We're all very familiar with event management systems apps, right? Like Cvents and Swugos, et cetera, et cetera. And they can get you in the door, and they're made to basically open up the mobile world for you. Amego is here to kind of take it that rest of the way, right? Once branding becomes very, very complex, once the security becomes very complex in your engagement tools, you lean on a lot more at these events, right? Some are also event apps that are out there on the market are maybe also focused on a segment, or they're focused on maybe a size of event. Amego kind of goes right from, the 200 person, small team event or activation event. We've done dinner events, VIP dinner events with partners before, right up to your 100,000 in-person events. That scales really good like that. So this is the brag slide. I had to throw that in there. Apologies for that. But what I wanted to draw your attention to here is just the diversity of how different brands are using our app. So you can control pretty much most things in the app in terms of brandability. So if you are an agency and you have a customer that leans quite heavily on the branding side, yeah, Amego is the app for you. Lastly, we know what a pain it is to work with so many different event, tech platforms. You guys are all experts in this area, but we wanted to remove as much of that pain as possible. And also, by the way, we used to be in your seat. Our founder, Scott Owens, he's used to run Dreamforce. So he's been the buyer. He knows what hoops you need to jump through. He knows how your different event tech platforms need to work together. And so that's how we built it from the ground up. On brand new
You're down to
technology.
4 minutes and 30 seconds. Do we get to see it?
Oh, yes, absolutely. So very quickly here is that we integrate with all of the major EMSs out there. So within 4 minutes, you can plug in your API details and it will pull registration, session, speaker sponsors in, and then you just have to make your app look pretty. And then very lastly on this front is, we can be multi-cloud hosted. So if you have AWS or Google Cloud or Microsoft Azure, and we're multi-region as well across the world. So let me stop there. Let me open up some apps for you guys and you can have a look at things. So I mentioned here a little bit of brandability. I love what MailChimp has done, and we don't just do MailChimp, we also do QuickBooks and Intuit as well. And all of the buttons here at the bottom you see is just like their own icons that they have uploaded, and you can choose what they are. And typically the app layout is like a home screen with highlight reels and agenda widgets and speaker widgets that you can add in. Then you have like that general event agenda. I'll show you a better version in a minute. Then you have chat in your event or your own personalized agenda, or gamification. I'll dive into that a little bit more. And then on notifications. So notifications are segmented and are native. So you can push segmented notifications to your different attendee types. They can also be location-based or session-based notifications that push. This is a cool app. So we have obviously the branded dedicated apps that you can load into your App Store. We also have a container app, and then we have a branded container app like ServiceNow. They run so many world forums throughout the year, and some of them are even multilingual. So we support all languages that are from left to right. And they've kind of used this as, a lot of people complain about there's too many apps out there, and there are. So you can basically get all of your apps under one container app for your event. And then we've got some other cool ones like Monday.com. Again, you see the styling is entirely different. You got the agenda here, sponsors, peer-to-peer engagement, so you can book meetings with one another. You can have a social wall. We've got some partners that we work with there as well, or the native stuff, interactive maps. Let me go into very lastly into our little demo app over here. So here again, wanted to just point out you've got like, let's say, your event library that you can browse, and we've got some engagement tools like polling, Q&A, chat, and surveys that can pop up on anything. And then you got your My Agenda, so building your own session from the event itself. and organizing yourself like this along with your meetings. And then here we got the quest, which is your gamification. So you can gamify for your sponsors if you want to, provide more value to your sponsors by sending, gamifying them, visiting their booth, or interacting with content, or even booking meetings with them. Those are all call to actions that you can gamify. And we've got some other networking bits. I wonder if I can show you an interactive map. We do our own standard interactive map, which is just PDF file, flat file that you can upload in different levels, or we have an SDK with Expo FP that it becomes completely interactive and then works very natively in the app, and you can wayfind as well with Crowd Connected for very complex events. So maybe I'll stop there, and then if there's any questions, I can dive into specifics.
That is beautiful. Okay, a couple of questions. Is the API integration with your Reg platforms two-way? So mobile activity tracks back into your Cvent or your Swoogo?
Very, very good point. So yes, it is two-way. We are one of the few that are, and that means that the one-way pull would be on speakers and sponsors because that's usually not very dynamic, but certainly on sessions and registrants, it is because like if I'm enrolling in different sessions or I'm removing sessions and adding other ones to my customizable agenda. That needs to push back to my EMS, and that's what happens. And a lot of the time, you'll find that conditional logic exists on sessions, and you need, like, let's say, that to pull into the app in terms of what I can select or what I can't select, or there's, like, let's say, a capacity on a session. Those things all pull through.
Amazing.
And that's custom fields as well, by the way. So you can pull custom fields from your EMS and all of these different um, objects.
So many of the registration companies are doing their own apps, like Cvent has their own, Rainfocus has their own. What is the benefit of going with a third party?
I think you get that added ability to brand even more and drive more engagement tools. This is where we see from the scalability perspective, like let's say, Cvent recommend Amego and also Swoogo for their enterprise tier customers who lean more heavily on the branding side of things. That needs to be completely white labeled, completely their own style. That's usually where we come in. We also can cater to a little bit more the hosting requirements that they have sometimes, so the security reviews. And then also we're better suited to take on the entire event portfolio. So like I was saying before, like our pricing is very simple. It's just per attendee base. And if you have an entire portfolio of like tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 events, we can even price towards that different tier. So it works out in the long run very economically for the customer.
That's amazing. And then I saw most of these, they were single events, and then ServiceNow was basically a portal for all of the events, and then every single app can be found within there. But this is an actual app, right? And not a web tool?
Actually, that's right. And that's another like important distinction to make is that these are all offline ready, right? So it's going to pull all the information to the device and it's going to be very responsive. We've all had network issues at events, and I think that's where some of the web-based apps really struggle a little bit. And so this, because it's in your app store, it's in, your account, it is native, it's built on React Native, so it's going to be very fast and it's going to get you there.
They are beautiful. So do you do the design or do your clients do them?
Both actually. So we have customers like ServiceNow and Atlassian. I cannot open Atlassian literally just before this call. They are republishing their app because they do the tour 2024 and 2025 with us. So that's going to come soon again. And also I wanted to go into Next, but they're doing exactly the same thing. So I can show you the Google app. But yeah, these are all apps that you can have the container of it, or you can just publish it to your own thing.
And then last question, when you said per attendee, is it based on total registrants or total people who actually download it?
Very good point. So this is only on people who actually use the app. So like let's say you've got 5,000 people registered for your event, but you have 3,000 people that actually downloaded the app on the day. That is in the end what you pay for. And to just touch again on the app build, it is very simple to build these apps. I know a lot of customizable app platforms, they don't allow you to see a lot of the backend to control stuff. None of what you see in these different apps is not available, right? To the customer. We make everything available via the CMS. And you can design it. We do an onboarding, and you can get going in like, a couple of hours, or we can build it for you entirely at like a dollar per attendee more. If you're particularly in a hurry to get going, because we know
That's
like the app comes in very late in the buying process, right?
right.
And you need to get going. So
Francois, this was awesome. That was a great first introduction for me to see this tool. So I really appreciate that. And how can people get in touch with you? LinkedIn?
yeah, LinkedIn, or I'll drop my email address over here. And yeah, thank you so much for the opportunity. I love to see all the other tools as well.
Yes.